So what might these three human behaviors look like in real world? Let's use a traffic scenario, for example. An example of human error might be inadvertently running past a stop sign. I invite you to consider how many times do you know or suspect that you've inadvertently run past a stop sign, and keep that number in your head. Now let's move to the other end of the spectrum, a reckless behavior. Now, I want to have some sensitivity on this matter, but a classic example of reckless behavior is driving while intoxicated. Imagine you've had perhaps a few too many, and you elect to get behind the wheel of the car, and you know it's not safe. You have this knot in the pit of your stomach that perhaps this isn't the best choice of action. That's an example of reckless behavior, where you know the risk and you know how great it is, but you do the behavior anyways. Now, some of you don't drink, so you can honestly say that you've never driven while intoxicated, but if you do drink, you might think that there's been an instance or two where that's happened. So keep that number in your head for the number of times that you might have committed that reckless behavior. Now let's move to the middle of the spectrum, the at-risk behavior. An example of at-risk behavior while behind the wheel of a car is perhaps driving 5 to 10 miles over the speed limit. So I invite you to consider how many times do you know or suspect that you've driven 5 to 10 miles over the speed limit. I imagine that number is significantly greater. So if you picture all three of these inadvertently running past a stop sign, driving 5 to 10 miles over the speed limit, driving when you are intoxicated, they all could result in the same bad outcome, a car crash, harming yourself, harming another person. But then picture how many times more you've committed that at-risk behavior, driven 5 to 10 miles over the speed limit. So in the aggregate, the number of times the at-risk behaviors are committed, coupled with the fact that they could result in the same bad outcome as a human error or a reckless behavior, is the reason why the at-risk behavior is the most significant threat to safety.